Hi there, Dead Ideal Boy here, back with another video. This time we're at Trial Mountain. It's Daily Race B and it's the Group 3 cars from this week's Daily Races. Now, I'm currently recording this with a toddler sleeping next door in the bedroom, next door to this bedroom, so I have to keep my voice to a level which won't see me being murdered by my wife for waking up the baby. So if that doesn't deserve you hitting that subscribe button, then I don't know what does. So please help a brother out and yeah, hit that subscribe button. Anyway, enough of the emotional blackmail, on to the race. So as I said, Daily Race B in the Group 3 cars. Now this track is not a track I'm overly familiar with, believe it or not, although it is one of the classic GranTurismo tracks, unlike Heaton 93, who just swooped past me like an absolute pro. Bit of a latecomer obviously to GranTurismo in terms of getting really into it. I had GranTurismo originally for the PlayStation 1, but then didn't come back to GranTurismo until GranTurismo Sport. So some of these classic tracks just, they go over my head and I have to kind of learn them from scratch, and I really did struggle with this track, to be honest with you. It's a really fast flowing track with some heavy braking zones, and my qualifying time was pretty poor, to be honest with you. I'm usually quite decent at qualifying and suffer in the race, but I suppose this time my qualifying time probably matched my race pace. So yeah, it was a bit of a different race for me this week. Not up at the front, certainly in the mid pack. P7, starting in P6, we've already lost a spot, and you can see here we're going to lose a lot more than just one spot there, as the Italian unceremoniously decided that I was in his road on the middle. Well, I was in the middle of the apex, but yeah, that wasn't enough for him, as he just pushed me aside, costing me 4 positions, and absolutely no remorse as he drove off into the distance. Now, I have to be honest with you, I was absolutely seething at that. I hate it when somebody just nudges you out of the way, pushes you out of the way, and doesn't give you the position back, shows no remorse for it. But hey, everyone's different. So that really kind of put me back into the trenches here, P11, and we're going to have to do a lot of work now, not just to fight off the guys round about us, but to try and make our way forward again. So we've got the GTR now in front of us, and that's going to be a big old unit to try and get past. But yeah, we'll try our best here. As you can see, I was really kind of struggling a bit with the flow of the track. That particular left-hander there, I really wasn't getting sort of the rhythm of it. You can get on the power a lot earlier than I was getting on it there, but I was just a little bit worried about the understeer in the 911. It does kind of understeer on the power, and that can be quite costly on a track like this. Grazing the walls, barrier penalties, all that kind of thing. You have to just be really quite wary of it there. But what was nice to see is the fact, though, that we are behind the GTR, because it's basically been the 911 festival of Group 3 the past few weeks. So there have been a few other cars that are competitive around here, such as the GTR and the Mazda. But you can see this kind of, this race and this track, it really does produce some really close racing. The whole field is basically just up the road there, so although we have lost a few positions, we're not completely out of it as we cross the line to start lap 3. So we're sticking with them, and that's good news for me, because I was a bit concerned about being dropped. You can see here we're catching in the GTR, and we're going to have to just lift and coast through the S-bends here, and there's a big puff of smoke up ahead, and you can see there's carnage up ahead as well, as we have to take avoiding action there, and we come round the left-handers and there's a car in the middle of the road. So that was a scary moment there, as people were basically losing it left, right and centre for one reason or another. So it's one of these tracks, high speed track, slight touch, you can see you spinning off, and it can be the end of your race if that is indeed the case. So we were just really trying to stay out of trouble now. We've managed to pick up one position from that up to P10. We've got the ominously named Psycho 666 behind us. So yeah, that was something of a concern. I mean, if you're going to call yourself Psycho 666 on your PlayStation account, then I'm assuming it's not because you're necessarily the most calm individual when it comes to gaming, racing. So yeah, it just shows you sometimes the name can put a little bit of doubt in your mind. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, we're trying to catch back up with this GTR, and we're not, like I said, a million miles out of this here. You've got at least 4 or 5 cars that are all in a big queue, but the problem is, again, a little bit of the dirty air made it quite difficult when you were closing in to make moves. But this corner here, we managed to actually pick up a little bit of time each lap, but we're actually braking very, very nicely coming into that little section there. I did see myself making up a few tenths here and there on that particular corner. So across the line we go for the start of lap 4, and it's all sort of, well, calming down, we might say here. But just as we think we're sort of getting back into the swing of things, we end up almost crashing into Heaton there, who has a moment. Unfortunately for him, as he did have a lot of pace round here, but he spun unceremoniously. Thankfully, we managed to avoid any serious collision there, but we did pick up, obviously, this 1 second penalty for a track limit, which was, yeah, annoying, because the way, well, the place where you serve the penalty on this track, it's a bit of a killer, because you lose the momentum going up the straight. It really is a blow if you pick up track limit penalties, or any sort of a penalty on this track. So we're up to P9, so we've moved forward a little bit from P11, but yeah, I was disappointed here as we touch the back of the GTR, but the difference is here we back off. We don't want to pick up the position, we don't want to gain out of our slight mistake by touching the back end of someone else, unlike the Italian and somebody else just losing it there. So we've moved forward now up to P8, so happy with that. But this penalty is going to be a costly one, I would imagine, so a little bit disappointed that we're going to sort of lose or the good work that we've and good progress that we've made going forward. We're going to lose a bit of that here. You can see here, as I said, this penalty line, it's a harsh one, but somebody over on the right hand side, it's Firefighter, is it, serving a penalty. So we managed actually to, well, lose a position and gain a position. So skipping forward onto the last lap, we kind of plodded round. P8 looked as if it was guaranteed, and who's that over on the left? It is our friend from the opening lap. He has spun out and is facing the wrong way, and I have to say I was absolutely delighted to see that as we pick up another spot. So ultimately we only lost 1 position from the opening lap after falling back to P11, so I was actually very, very happy in the end with that finish and the way we sort of held our composure, because it would have been easy to sort of lose all our composure and basically just forfeit the race. But you can see here, this was the moment the Italian just absolutely ruined any chance we had of moving forward from P6. And you see here in lap 5, he is going for the move there, he gets out of shape, and absolute karma at its finest there. And you can see us on the left hand side giving him a little wave on the way past. So, well, you reap what you sow in this game, and if I wasn't a believer of karma before now, I certainly am. That was sweet. So yeah, short and sweet video with this one, short and sweet race. It was a really fun race, to be honest with you. If you haven't tried it, get on it. There's a few days left of it, so it's been pretty good for racing, although there is a lot of carnage, so just be wary of that if you're protective of your DRSR. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. Goodbye.